this lesson, I would like to show you With this video, I would like to help you work through Lesson 7 of the Piano Skills Foundation Beginner Level 3. At this point, of course, we're assuming you've gone all the way through Lessons 1 through 6 of this level, and you're ready to tackle a couple new reading exercises. We're going to work on your Minuet in G, and I'm going to just demonstrate going through the scales, arpeggios, cadence, and burlesque. Just remember, these videos are just for you to use however you want to check your work. Since I can't come and help you one-on-one with in-person feedback, the videos are valuable for you to try to check how you're doing things against the way that I'm doing things. So I hope you find these useful and have a good time with it. Okay, so here in Lesson 7, what I would like to do is demonstrate for you the future of your sakba, your scale, arpeggio, cadence, and burlesque. I'm going to show you all 5 keys that you know, and I'm going to do them how you probably will be doing them in about a year if you keep on practicing them. So the only difference between what you're doing now and what you'll be doing in about a year is tempo and how fast you'll be able to play them. So let me show you just real quick a little bit of each element going the tempos you should be going, and then I'm going to just plow straight through all of them at the tempo that you'll be able to handle in a year or two. So here's your tempo now, and please don't deviate from this. You need to keep steady at the slow tempos. I have it at 160. If you put your metronome at 160 right now, you should be playing half notes on your scale, which sounds like this, and so forth. And your arpeggios, you probably can handle quarter notes on a lot of them, like the 1 chord should be easy by now. Though if you have like a 5 chord in a certain key, the 5 chord in the key of A you're not quite as familiar with yet, you might want to do half notes. Okay, and then of course on your burlesque, you'll probably play quarter notes. Can't go this fast, you can turn your metronome down for your burlesque. But what I want to demonstrate right now, and I'll probably keep doing this on the videos in the future, is to just play straight through them at the tempo, and I'll be playing eighth notes instead of 1 note per beat on the scale or half notes. I'll be playing. Okay, that's a lot faster than you should go now. But I want you to have a picture of the future of what you're going to be able to play, and just a quick demonstration that doesn't take too long on the video of how to go through your sakba in the different keys. So because you're going to be going slower, you're probably just going to do 1 or 2 keys per day, and you'll see that eventually you'll be able to play a whole bunch of them. Now, if you have extra time on your hands, go ahead and do like all 5 of them if you want each day. But here we go. I'm going to show you scales, arpeggios, cadence, and burlesque in the key of A. Sorry, I'm going to do 2 chords. I forgot. And then. I almost missed that last one because of the tripod. Now, onto the key of D. to the key of G. On to the key of C. Little slop. And then on to the key of F. And that was your sakba in all 5 keys. So, do it at your tempo, but realize that that's where you're headed someday. You want to get to the point where you can play cleanly through all of them and then gradually move your tempos up over a long period of time. Have fun. All right, so the next thing on your Lesson 7 practice guide is the tune Amazing Grace. Now, at this point, a lot of you maybe have opted out of the tune because there's already enough stuff to practice, but I'm going to play through it in all these 3 keys up at our top tempo, which is 120. And this is just a demonstration of the tune, so that if you want to stop and start and stop and start and see how it's done, you can do that, or just to hear it all so you can see what yours should sound like. Now in the key of F, you start on C. Okay, and then in the key of G, you start on D. And that was Amazing Grace in the key of C, F, and G. Good luck with that. All right, so your first reading exercise on Lesson 7 is called Keeping It Basic in A. So I'm going to just go through and do the usual. I'm going to practice each line, right hand, left hand, both. I think I'm going to start at the bottom today, work our way up from the bottom, and then I'll play the whole thing. Your routine will consist of doing 3 perfect on each line, and of course on the video I'm just going to do 1 perfect. But the neat thing about starting at the bottom is that every time you get your 3rd perfect, you just keep playing to the end. Okay, so here I go, starting on the 4th line. I'm going to put the metronome at a nice slow tempo. The first time you practice, you don't have to really use metronome at all, but I'm just doing it to help you hear the beat. So I have it at 88, which is probably a little faster than you should go at the start, but you get the idea. Left hand by itself first. Oops. I'm going to start right here. Measure 13. I'll play the left hand. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play that left hand until you're good at it. Eyes glued to the music, counting out loud. The right hand starts out with a 1 chord in the key of A. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the 5 chord, back to the 1 chord, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you've mastered the right hand part, put the hands together. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Off. Okay, now I'm going to move up to the line 3. Hopefully you will have done your 3 perfects before you move up. But now we're on to the 3rd line. Left hand by itself, going from the first note to the first note. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. And you'll notice that the left hand plays the melody there, so the left hand can be playing louder. The right hand should be playing a little softer. The chords are 1, 2. I'm not going to count. These are just long chords. Let's go through them. The 1 chord, the 1 chord, then the 4 chord, back to the 1 chord, and then the 5, 7, back to the 1 chord. Okay, so when you have something like that, where it's just a texture of chords holding for a long time, don't feel like you have to sit there counting it with the right hand by itself. When you put them together, you'll get the counting. So let's do it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Okay. Now get your 3 perfects there, and then on your 3rd perfect, go all the way to the end. I'm going to move up to the 2nd line now. Since the right hand has the melody, I'm going to go ahead and do the right hand first. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Then the first note of the next line, 1. Now the left hand, just doing some chords. I told you back here you don't have to count it, but there's more half notes than anything, so I'm going to go ahead and count the left hand. The 1 chord, 1, 2, 3. Then the 5 chord, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 5, 7, 3, 4. Back to 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1. Okay, now I'm going to put them together. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Okay, then of course after you get your 3 perfects, the 3rd perfect means you go all the way to the end. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the top line. Right hand by itself. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Okay, and then the left hand, mostly whole notes, so I'm just going to go through them here. It's the 1 chord, then the 1 chord again, the 4 chord, back to the 1 chord, and then the 5, 7, back to 1. And of course, you can count it if you want to. I just blitzed through them to save a little time. Now, both hands, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Okay. Now, on your 3 perfects, you can be moving up the dial as the week moves on. You can start, like your first perfect would be at 88, and you go click, click, and then do your next one at 96, click, click, and so forth. Okay? So by the end of the week, I have it written on your practice guide to try to get this piece up to 132. So let's try it, and you can see what it's supposed to sound like towards the end. If you don't get it all the way up to speed, it's all right. Just play smoothly through it at whatever tempo you like, and let's give it a try. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, keeping it basic in A. Have fun with that. Okay, so your second reading exercise for lesson 7 is the two-step in A. This one's a little trickier, so what I'm going to do is just go really slow with the right hand and the left hand, and then both, and then I'll demonstrate each line a little bit quicker with the metronome. So here we go. Your third finger's on C sharp when you start, the right hand part. 2, and the notes we're counting 2 beats per measure. This pickup note is on 2. 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. And hopefully you notice that I'm slurring some of the notes, which means connecting, and the other notes I'm staccatoing. So make sure you do the articulation like that. Left hand, and by the way, you'd be counting all these ands too. Counting the ands is the key to doing a good job of the rhythm on an 8th note piece. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. Okay, I just played the left hand all the way from there to there. Do that till you have it mastered. And then putting the hands together is a little trickier on this one because the right hand slurs while the left hand staccatos, and you don't want to let the slur affect the staccatos. So I'm going to go as slow as you probably should start out going on this until you get the hang of it. 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. Okay, so I went nice and slow. You could go even slower. And the thing that's tricky is when you have the slur in the right hand, the left hand wants to slur too. And you have to make sure the left hand still staccatos. So work hard at that at the slow speed, as slow speed as you need. And then once your hands in your mind figure out how that works and what it feels like, it'll be easier. And then you can start speeding it up. So let me play that line one more time with the metronome at 60. 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. Okay, so now let's do the same routine on the second line. You will work on that first line until you have 3 perfect, and then we're going to move on. Right hand by itself, measure 5 from here to the measure 9. Right hand 5th finger on E. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. Okay, so I made it all the way to there. Now the left hand, once you've mastered the right hand, measure 5 going to measure 9. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. Okay, I stopped on the 4 chord here. Now I'm going to put them together, and again, once you put them together, it's much harder. So I'm going to go really slow the first time. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Oh, I goofed. I moved the left hand. Let me try that again. Sorry about that. I wasn't paying attention. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and then hold the 2. 1. Okay? So that's how you play that second line slowly. Now I'm going to turn the metronome on and do it a little bit faster at 160. So this would be after maybe 3 or 4 days of practicing that you can maybe start it at 60. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, 1. Okay? So now after you've done that one, 3 perfect, of course, put them together, and then you can start working on the third line. Right hand starts on F sharp. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. Okay? So I would like to remind you to try to do this without looking down at your hand. If you can do that with your eyes on the music, you'll make yourself a better music reader. So keep at it so you can do that. Now the left hand has a 4 chord. 1, 2, I'm starting right here at measure 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 1 chord. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1. The left left hand takes over the melody right here. So now I'm going to do both hands very slow. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. Oops, I'm supposed to hold the right hand. I goofed. Okay, so when you get to this note, which I goofed on, you need to make sure you hold the right hand while you staccato the left. So that's a new skill you're learning, right? So anyway, do that till you get 3 perfect, nice and slow. I'm going to do it once at 60 so you can kind of hear it as it starts to move. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. Okay, that time I did it right at the end. I held on to the right hand. Now, once you get your 3 perfect on this one, go ahead and put all 3 of these together. Now it's time to work on the bottom line. Here's where I get to explain DS al fine. When you get to the end of this one and you see DS, that means go back to the sign. And the sign is this thing. So we don't go right back to the very beginning, we go to here. And in a lot of pieces of music, you'll find this sign somewhere in the middle somewhere. If you have a piece that has multiple pages, you have to sort of search for the sign on whatever page. But this is how a composer tells you to go back to a certain spot and then go to the word fine, which means the end, all right? So I'm going to do the right hand, and we're going to overlap back to this note right here, okay? Whoops, sorry, you couldn't see that, this note. So we're going to go from this all the way back to that when we get there, all right? Right hand by itself, you have a 4 chord in the key of D. That's 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Here comes the 5 chord, and then the 5/7, 2 and 1 and 2 and 1, okay? So I just finished with this note up here. Now, the left hand, after you've mastered the right hand, the left hand sounds like this, starting with measure 13. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and then 1 and, okay? Now I'm going to put both hands together nice and slow the first time. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. Okay, so now after you've done that nice and slow, you'll be eventually getting a little bit faster. The first few practices, you'll probably do all 3 perfects with no metronome, and then as you move on during the week, you'll start getting faster. Here it is at 60. Ready? It goes 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, 1 and 2. All right, so that was the 4th line going back to the sign. Now I'm going to go ahead and assume that after a few days of practicing this, you have practiced every line 3 perfect, and you can play the whole piece, and you're starting to work your way up the metronome. This is the final tempo that I have listed. It's 88. If you don't make it up to 88, don't worry. Try to make it just up to 60, but I'm going to play it at 88 the whole song just so you can hear what it sounds like at our top speed. 2, 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, So that was 2-step in A. Have fun with that. Take your time. Enjoy it and work your way up to the faster tempos over a long period of time. Good luck. So now on your Minuet in G, the last thing on our list for lesson 7, which of course is your learning and memorizing piece. The first 2 lessons, lesson 5 and lesson 6, we worked on the first page and the second page. Now I'm going to go back to the first page and show you how to start working with your metronome while you practice it. I still think you can be working, oops, that's the second page. You can be working 2 measures at a time. Today I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up. I'm going to just show you right hand, left hand, both with the metronome. You can be working with the metronome at a nice, slow, easy tempo. I'm going to put the metronome at 60. And you can click up every time you get a perfect one. So, starting down at the bottom of the page. Now the last 2 measures of this, you'll have to practice it taking the repeat back to the beginning or going to the first note of the next page. So I'll do it both ways. We're going to start with your second finger on this A, the right hand by itself. 1, 2, 1, 2. And now I'm going to repeat back to the beginning. Okay, you're going to learn how to do that. And then you also need to know how to go to the second page, so let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, and then all the way up to this B up here. Okay? So now once you've got that practiced, do the left hand. And this is the type of practicing you're going to do. Even though you already know the piece, you should still practice it like this. So the left hand, 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, 3, and then that takes us back to the beginning. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the left hand again, going to the second page, which is 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3, and then second finger on G. Okay, that takes us to the second page. Now I'm going to put them together, once to the repeat and once to the next page, like this. And then here it is again, going to the second page. Now, once you have that rememorized again and practice it till you get 3 perfects, then go on to the next 2 measures. Right hand. And stop. And then the left hand after you've done that a couple times. Third finger's on A. 2 and 3 and 1. And that little gap between your 4 and your 3 is a little uncomfortable, but it's also a good way to remember it, because you think, aha, here comes that gap. Okay, so anyway, the left hand, and then both hands on that. And once you've gotten 3 perfect there, then you get to do the whole line. First do it with a stop, and when I do it with a stop, I'm going to take the repeat, and then when I do it without the stop, I'm going to go ahead and go to the second page. But here it is with the stop. Stop. Now restart. And then, okay. So now I'm going to do it without the stop and go to the next page. And now, once you've done 3 perfect on that, and of course, as you do your 3 perfects, you can be clicking up the dial of the metronome or just leave it the same, and then over a period of a week or so of practicing, you can move your metronome up the dial. So, for now, I'm just going to go on to the third line. Right hand by itself, starting in this E. 1. Okay, that's the right hand part. Now the left hand has a thumb on C right here. I had to figure out number 2 is there, so number 1 is here. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1. Okay, and you do that, make sure your left hand is memorized. Once you have reviewed both, we're going to do them together, 3 perfect. You're going to do 3, I'll do just 1. And then once you get your 3 perfect on that one, start back here, right hand. And then, after you've reviewed that, the left hand, second finger's on B. 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3, 1. Now let's put them together on those 2 measures. And then once you get 3 perfect there, do the whole line once with a stop. And then restart. And then after you've done that at least once or twice, do the whole line with no stops. On your 3rd perfect one, you can play all the way to the end. I'm just going to do 1 perfect for now. So after you've gotten 3 perfect there, gone all the way to the end of the page, then go ahead and work on this one. Second finger on C sharp. F sharp. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1. And then the left hand, after you know your right hand's memorized, left hand, you roll a G chord. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1. And then put the hands together on those two. And then, let's move on after you've done 3 perfect there. The beginning of that line, 4th finger's on C. And the left hand has a 4th finger on A. 2 and 3 and 1. 2 and 3 and 1. And then you put those together. Once you've done that 3 perfect, then the whole line with a stop in the middle. Stop and then restart. Okay. And then of course on your third, after you've done it with a stop, then you do 3 perfect. On your third, you go all the way to the end. I'll just do it once and I'll just stay on this line. And now, I'm going to do the top line. Right hand. And after you've done that once or twice, the left hand is easy. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, making sure that's all memorized well. And then, after you've done 3 perfect on those two, the beginning. And then the left hand. 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, now both hands till you get 3 perfect. And then, and you can even do this on your third perfect. You can do the one where you stop in the middle. Stop, and then restart. Okay, and then of course, you get to play the whole line 3 perfect without stopping, like this. Now, of course, on your third perfect, you could go all the way through to the end of the page. I would have done that, except I want to show you the whole page up at the tempo that I'm working for this week's lesson. I think I wrote 80. Where is that lesson sheet? Oh, there it is. Yeah, I say 80 for your top tempo this week. So just wanted to hear what it sounds like. I'm going to play the whole first page at 80. And I'm going to not take the repeat. I'll just go to the first note of the next page. That was how you practice Minuet and G's first page. You might wonder, well, if I already have it memorized, why do I need to still break it down 2 measures, right, left, both, the same way I did when I first learned it? And the truth is, if you keep breaking it down like this, you'll keep it fresh and memorized strong. people who just do that workout until they get it memorized, and then from then on all they do is play through the whole thing, they tend to start relying only on their tactile and their auditory memory, and they start forgetting it in their mind. So they're actually just a house of cards waiting to come tumbling down as far as memory goes. So make sure you keep practicing it like this. Once you know it, it doesn't take as long. So I hope you have fun with that. Keep practicing that page one day and then the second page the next. Maybe alternate like that. If you have all kinds of time, you can do both pages each day. I would probably recommend just one page each day because your brain will get fatigued. So anyway, enjoy working on that, and until next time, have fun.